So good morning. Yes, it is fitness fragrance review time, and normally if you see me doing these videos, I'm normally already spraying a fragrance at this time. But today, for the very first time ever, I do not know what fragrance I'm going to review to start with, because in this drawer over here, I have 6 new clone fragrances, Black Friday deal, and I haven't actually really tried them yet. There's only one that I've ever had as the original fragrance. So what I'm going to do quickly, I'm going to pick one out at random, find out what it is, and then we're going to review it today. So are we ready? Close my eyes. They're all in a box. Right. Okay, I've got one in hand. 3, 2, 1. So the Essence Vault is the fragrances, and it is number 673. So it's time to find out what one that is a clone of. And the clone that this fragrance is of, Bond number 9, Bleecker Street. So I'm going to apply this quickly, and we'll talk about the note breakdown of this fragrance. Before I start talking about this fragrance in a bit more detail, I have not really smelled Bleecker Street, hence the reason I wanted to buy a clone of it to get a general idea. I think I smelled it once years ago in a shop, but I cannot remember that smell, and this is very much a first time, as you can see, wearing this fragrance today, so it's going to be a real initial impression. But if you haven't seen one of my fitness reviews before, essentially I'm in my running gear, I'm going to do a morning workout, so I'm going to go for a run, walk to the gym, do a gym workout, walk back, all while reviewing this fragrance. It's going to be on 5 categories. So it's price / value for money, versatility, its projection, how much it lasts during my run, compliment factor, and its longevity. And it will get an overall score out of 50 based on my thoughts of this. So yeah, this is very much a complete first impressions. And obviously I've applied the fragrance. It is awful weather out there today, so I'm going to try and do my best though to film it as well as I can. But before we do that, we're going to talk about the note breakdown. So what is this fragrance meant to smell like? What is the general overall vibe of this scent? So let's look at the note breakdown. So we have got top notes of violet leaf, fresh green and leafy, blueberry adds a fruity tart brightness, and thyme and herbal lift. And what I get literally from spraying this, and again this is very much the first impressions, definitely getting that greenness. Now it says in the opening here, the violet leaf and the thyme, and I definitely think it's that thyme that I'm getting more than anything. It's got a slight pepperiness, so I'm wondering if there's going to be a sort of pepper note, some sort of spicy note in this, because that's what I'm definitely getting here. Cedar, clean woody backbone. Yeah, this has got that masculine vibe to it. Just, I mean, of course you could pull this off on either way because of the fruitiness and the floral components. But yeah, you're definitely getting that woodiness. It's not really heavy, it's not in your face. It feels like it's smoothed everything together really nicely. Jasmine, soft floral smoothness. So yeah, as we were just saying, there's definitely a floral component. It's almost like a clean laundry type smell. Very pleasant, very wearable. Definitely makes it more unisex. I think that's probably the jasmine that does bring that more feminine vibe, which complements, as we were just saying, a bit of spice. And they're saying here it comes from the cinnamon. So a light, warm spice. Yeah, it's not heavy cinnamon. Sometimes cinnamon can be really, really strong in fragrances. This one is just a very, very nice spice, just in the background with the woods, just sort of binding everything together, sort of supporting that greenness, which I think is very much at the top of this fragrance, which is standing up. Be interested to see how that changes though as we go along. Then the base, oak moss, yeah, bit of a fougere barbershop vibe to this, and I think oak moss is a very good note for that. Definitely gives you that barbershop smell though. Suede, don't get the suede. Not getting that leather smell, but as I said, at the moment on the initial opening, I do think it seems slightly more masculine in this one. Patchouli, earthy richness, definitely a little bit of patchouli I can notice. Amber, again, that can sometimes sort of make things a little bit more spicy and warm. I think that's doing that. Vanilla, gentle sweetness. Yes, this isn't like one of those really fresh, spicy fragrances, like that green, fresh, spicy. It does have an element of sweetness to it, which makes this, I think, really versatile. Be interested to see what versatility, how that scores today. But that gives a gentle sweetness, and then a bit of caramel, warm, cosy sweetness. Again, it's very faint. If there's caramel in this, it's certainly sitting in the background at the moment, but of course, that is in the base of the fragrance. That is the base note, which hopefully will develop through as we go on this morning. So yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to head out for a run in it. There's a storm outside. It's 40-mile-an-hour winds. So I'm going to try and go through those first 2 categories really quickly. So price / value for money for this Essence Vault fragrance. And yeah, how versatile, how much can you use this fragrance in different occasions, even on a stormy day. Let's get out there. Okay, this is actually take 2 of doing my price slash value for money bit. It sounded like I was underwater a minute ago, and you can tell how windy it is. So hopefully you'll hear this one better, but price slash value for money. So if I was blindfolded, what would I roughly say this fragrance smells in terms of price? Probably about £25-30, which is roughly what you're getting for this fragrance, this clone of Bleecker Street from the Essence Vault for 100ml. Do I think that's good value for money? Well, look, what I'd like is there's so much complexity. If you look at this note breakdown, it's something that attracted me to try and get a clone of this. You know, you've got the fougere elements of the oak moss, and obviously those green accords that gives a bit of an aromatic vibe. You've got fruity elements to it, you've got floral elements to it, you've got the sweet gourmand elements, it's like spice to it, and you go, wow, that's a complex fragrance, how are they going to pull that off? But actually the smell is relatively generic. You know, I've had Next Signature Vert, which is Next is a clothing brand in, you know, very well known sort of designer one. And you know, a lot of these generic scents smell a little bit like this. It's just like a spicy green fragrance. And look, what that could mean for me, as someone who loves my fragrances, probably for a lot of you, I always think when I'm buying clothes, I want a bit of uniqueness. I want it to make it smell really unique, like a very expensive scent. I wouldn't want to pay £250 for Bond No.9 Bleecker Street if it smells like this. But some people will look at it the other way and they'll go, well, and obviously we'll touch on versatility in a minute. I want a fragrance that can do it all. I can wear on most occasions, you know, have it as a signature scent and not keep buying 20-30 fragrances. And look, I think in that sense it ticks so many boxes. Of course it does, and that makes a good value for money. Yes, look, I'm not saying it's perfect running fragrance, but it's nothing too harsh. It'll work in the transition seasons. A nice woodiness in this, you know, it makes it very well rounded, and it's a well rounded scent. And you know, if you're looking at it for that price range, you know, it's like £25 that you can pretty much wear all the time, then it's great. It's casual, but it's obviously got the ability to dress up. We'll talk about that obviously again in a minute with versatility, but it's fine, and that makes it good value for money in that sense. And look, you know, I'm saying, oh, it smells very generic, but to make all those notes blend so well, to make this type of scent, this could have gone very wrong based on what was in there, but it's very well blended. It's not harsh, synthetic smelling, and I think for that reason it ticks a lot of boxes. So I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I wanted a bit more complexity in terms of the smell, but I appreciate the effort in terms of the way they've got all these notes in to make a scent that can do it all. But yeah, we'll go on to versatility now before it starts chucking it down. So versatility, how much can you dress this one up, dress this one down? Different ages, different occasions, different seasons. But what's really nice is because this is kind of a first impressions, I literally sprayed it once yesterday. I've not come in with any preconceived ideas for this. And really what I'm getting is a general vibe of this fragrance. Now it's dried down a little bit. It's this green, soft green, look at the rain, soft green with a bit of spiciness and a slight bit of floral sweetness and woody background. And it's basically delved into so many different genres there of scent. It's not gone into one thing specifically. It's not a sweet gourmand or anything like that. I'm getting very much that nice oak moss with a slight hint of spice and very much that casual, clean, nice smelling person. And I sort of stereotypically would say a man is mid-30s, probably, he's just wearing a nice t-shirt in the city, I think would be the best sort of person to wear this one. But that is being extremely stereotypical. But this is versatile. I think many people can wear this. I think a younger person would want to say a bit more fruity. Yes, it's got fruity notes in it like blackcurrant, but it's not a fruity fragrance. It's a spicy green, but it's a nice soft clean green rather than anything too heavy, too old school. And I think in that sense it's going to be best in those transition seasons, that fall, spring, that time of year, where you just want something that's a little bit more signature scent, a little bit complex, but it's nothing too daring. Nobody's going to say, in my opinion, this is something different to what they've ever smelt before. And that could go both ways though. If it's something that's too different, some people will love it, some people will hate it. With this one, I think people have kind of recognised that scent DNA, because again, a lot of brands do these sort of generic, nice green woody smells, And that's what this is. I'm going to turn because of the wind, so you won't hear me. But yeah, it really does tap into all those things. I don't think it's got enough aquatic sort of notes, marine notes, to be like a gym fragrance. You know, I think blue fragrances will do that better. But an everyday wear sort of top, smart casual attire, man is 30, I think it's the voice off. But anyone, again, from 18, 21 to 60 can pull this off. And it's not going to be awful in environments like the gym. It's just going to be a very pleasing, approachable scent. And they tend to be the most versatile. So I think this deserves high marks. I'm actually going to give it a 9.5. The only reason I mark it down is I don't think it's one of those that's going to really cut through the cold in the winter months. And I think it's just not, it's a little bit more aggressive, a bit too spicy maybe for a gym scent, but apart from that, it ticks a lot of boxes. Right, time to head back and then we'll talk about projection. How much have I noticed it on my run today? So run done. Look how dark it is. Honestly, it is 9:10. It looks like the middle of the night, doesn't it? I look like a little old lady with all this stuff on. But I've done 14 miles. It's now time to spray my room. So you haven't seen this before. We're going to talk about projection in a minute. So I'm going to go downstairs, have a cup of tea, something to eat, and I'll talk about how much I noticed on my run. In the meantime, I'm going to spray my room 10 times. And then when I come back up in 10 minutes, I'll see how much the fragrance has filled the room. How much does this clone, the Essence Vault 673, nice memorable name, fill up a room? So while I do that, or before I go down, I should say, I'm going to spray my arm as well, because in 3 hours' time, I'll have a shower at the gym, and we'll see how long this fragrance has essentially lasted. Will it stick to my skin? Because I won't be applying it now again during those 3 hours. So there we go. That's all done. Time to head down. I'll talk about projection during my run. Oh, I put the big coat on while I'm downstairs. So how much did I notice Bleecker Street or the Essence Vault 673 during my run? Well, I'll be honest, I sprayed it once yesterday, as I said, and I was really disappointed because the other fragrances, the other ones that I'll be reviewing soon, just felt a little bit stronger. This one almost was like, can't really detect it. And my brother said exactly the same when I got him to smell them on himself. However, today, during the run, when sometimes it's windy and wet, you don't notice the fragrance at all. It's just too strong. Today I noticed it a lot, and I'm saying 20 to 30 times at the bare minimum. It was super strong, and it was this spicy green, really nice, soft fragrance. I said the oak moss in this is super strong, and I just think that spiciness from the cinnamon and the woodiness from the cedar in particular just really brought this fragrance through, and it was really nice, really pleasant. Look, it's a little bit, it's not aquatic enough, as I was saying, to be a sort of running gym fragrance, but it was fine, and it just kept me going because it was horrible out there, as you could hear, and it just, I don't know why. I don't know if it was the wind travelling across. It wasn't even when I was stopping. It was just there the whole time. So I'm really interested to see how it does on this room spray test, because normally when a fragrance is kind of quite woody, quite sort of spicy, I don't think they last that well in there. They don't linger in the air. But I wonder if that vanilla, caramel, and that floral component from the jasmine may just make this perform a little bit better. But really from the run, much, much more pleasantly surprised than I expected it to be. I expected it to be a low 6, 6.5 even. I think this is going to be right up there. So yeah, we're going to finish this cup of tea and then we'll head up and give a score or projection. Okay, so in we go. See how much we can smell. It's been about 12 minutes. Do you know what? I thought I could smell it at the top of the stairs. And now I've come into my room. I can definitely smell it. I'm really, really pleasantly surprised by the projection on this. I was really worried. To be honest with you, when I picked it out today, I was a bit disappointed. My nose is still dripping. I was a bit disappointed because this wasn't really the one I wanted to review because I was a bit underwhelmed by it. This has pleasantly surprised me on projection. And actually the smell in general, I really, really enjoyed that smell, and that nice soft greenness rather than that old school sort of harsh greenness that you can get in some phrases, that sort of piney, aggressive smell. But this is lovely and soft, and people are going to come in and know that this smells as a fragrance. This isn't like some of the lush fragrances I've done where they smell like food. This smells like a nice masculine type scent to me. Nice spiciness, sophisticated grown up, someone who's clean, well looked after themselves, and yeah, just worries about their appearance and how they present themselves in front of everyone as well. And people are going to ask what this is. I'm absolutely certain people are going to ask what this is, and maybe this is why Bleecker Street does super well. It's a very well-known fragrance. Yes, I say the smell isn't overly complex, but this is, generic done in the best possible way, in my opinion, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to actually give this, because I'm really impressed by it more than anything, a 10 out of 10. I very, very rarely give 10 out of 10 for a projection, and this was definitely not one that I expected to give that to. So done really well here, but it's just how much it surprised me as much, and it's pleased me in a really rewarding way. And I think people are going to really want to investigate who that is, who smells really nice, and ask where they can get it and what it is. And when you tell them it's a cologne fragrance, they're going to be super impressed. So what we're going to do, we are going to risk walking to the gym. I'm just looking outside now. It is not currently raining. I'm sure it will as we get outside. But yeah, we'll talk about confidence. Obviously, I've got no experience with it. Do I think it'll be a compliment factor? Maybe generic, a bit of an all-rounder, but do I think that will get compliments? Being attacked by a tsunami of leaves at the minute, so I apologise if I get one whacking me in the face. But compliment factor, so what do I think about this fragrance? Do I think it can get compliments? The Essence Full 673, the clone at Bleecker Street. Let's give it another smell quickly, because I don't know it that well. Yeah, so what I would say is, I think I've mentioned this on numerous occasions, the more versatile a scent is, the more occasions you can wear it, and that means you're going to get a sample size of more people to notice and recognise the fragrance. It's not a real statement scent, as I said. It's not like a strong boozy fragrance, a strong vanilla night out fragrance, which some people may find a little bit more seductive, a bit more attractive, you know, a bit more memorable in that sense. What this is a scent where someone, I think, applies it, and you don't necessarily think that they've applied it to smell clean and make a statement. They've just put it on because they're that sort of person that wants to present themselves as really approachable, really friendly, look after themselves, and they care. They're reliable, they turn up, they do their homework, all those sorts of things. Sometimes when you wear those statement scents, like a big boozy one, someone could probably go, well, yeah, he's put that on because he wants to be noticed. This one doesn't have that vibe to it. It just sort of smells like someone who just cares about going out and make sure they're presentable to the people they're meeting. And I actually think that's an attractive trait in itself. I think that's a very attractive trait. People who care and look after themselves and just want to be an all-round good person. This fragrance feels that sort of one. The person just wants to be nice, presentable, show up on time, reliable, and everyone likes them. And yes, it may not get those real statement compliments, but I think you're always going to be known as the person that smells nice. And for me, that's absolutely great. Yeah, it may not be the one that people remember forever, but I think the fact you can wear this on so many occasions, just smelling clean, smelling fresh, it's a lovely soft fougere type fragrance. It's great, and I think people are only going to say good things. It's not going to put off anyone. It's not that sort of daring scent. And I think that's sometimes the sort of compliments I look for, rather than always being that statement performer. So for that reason, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. But if you're looking for something more for a night out, this isn't really the one. You might want something a bit more, you know, focusing on a certain genre, whether that's like a dark floral for a woman or a, you know, a boozy type fragrance for a male, a bit more smokiness. But for that everyday smelling attractive type scent you can wear on many occasions, this is the one, and I'm going to give it 9 out of 10 for that reason. Now done, no compliments, hiding in the toilet at the minute, but I could smell the fragrance a few times while I was exercising. I did say earlier it's not really a gym fragrance, but it's absolutely fine for that. Yeah, I think obviously blue fragrances are slightly better, but that green is really soft. As I said, it's a nice soft green, and it's very, very pleasant, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't know how long the longevity is going to be with this though, so we'll do a shower test in a minute, we'll see how much it smells after, but I don't think those vanillic or caramel notes are going to really hold this fragrance together essentially, but projection proved me wrong. Let's hope longevity does as well. Okay, so we're all showered. It's just gone about 20 past 12, so it's time to smell my arms again, just to see what I can notice. Can I still smell the fragrance since the shower? Yes, I can, and again, it has pleasantly surprised me. And what I was expecting actually is, if this was going to last today, I was expecting the floral sort of jasmine and the vanilla and the caramel, the sweeter note, to come through, and the fragrance almost changed because they're obviously in the base. But it still very much feels like a nice, soft, spicy green fragrance, and I can give that credit to the oak moss, I think, being in the base, but the woodiness is still there as well. And in recent videos, when I've done a lot of these review videos, it's been the woodsy sort of versatile scents, the more generic scents that haven't really lasted. They started okay and then just disappeared and, you know, not survived the shower. But this has survived, and it's the DNA of the fragrance that's still the same. You know, I was really expecting it to become more sweet and maybe a little bit more clean, fresh, musky, maybe even more fruity. But it's not. It stayed the same. It still smells the same on my skin. It's probably about 60% as strong as it was when I applied it about three and a bit hours ago. That's absolutely fine. And again, if I'm not doing a workout, if I'm not getting sweaty or having a shower, it's going to get you through the day. Look, I think it's going to be better on like a hoodie. If you took your hoodie off, I think, and then put it back on later on in the day, I think that's when you'd notice it more. But this is going to get you through a shift, certainly on a climate controlled sort of environment. If you're in an office or in a school environment, you're not getting too hot, this would be fine. And I almost think even if someone was in close proximity to you, they notice it as well. And for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8.5. This is one of the rare fragrances that I've actually found with this sort of scent profile, the smell, the general vibe, where its projection and longevity has been pretty decent. And I think we put that down to the quality of the oils. I think the Essence Ful does do some high quality fragrances here, and I don't think they use really synthetic, you know, fragrance oils, fragrance alcohol in their products, even if it is a clone house. So yeah, very impressed with that. Certainly going to keep wearing it for the rest of today. Anyway, going to head back, have something to eat, and then it'll be time to count up all the scores. We are back. I'm in my warm hoodie, but I've been extremely lucky today. I didn't seem to get that wet after all. But I've done my morning workout. So how many steps did I do today? 38,568 steps, all while wearing this clone from the Essence Ful, number 673, which is a clone of Bombs No.9, Bleecker Street. Now, what was the total score? What did it get overall? 45.5 out of 50. That is huge. And I'll be honest with you, after my initial impressions, even first thing this morning, before I even started this review, I was expecting a low 30s. I just didn't think it seemed very memorable. Yes, I only sprayed it once yesterday, and I was a little bit like, I don't really want to review this one. I think it's a bit boring from what I've got. But through the workout, through my run particularly, and the projection I got in my room, I've just grown. It's just grown on me. It's become it's okay to a bit of a like, and now it's almost creeping into that love. And I'm really, really impressed with this. Now, I do need to say, would I spend £250 if the Bleecker Street fragrance smells exactly like this? Probably not. And it just goes back to what I'm looking for. When I look at fragrances, particularly those sort of high price ranges, I want something that's a bit more of a statement. To me, this is a signature scent. And, you know, this clone of it for £25, essentially for 100ml, is perfect. That's exactly the sort of price range I'd be happy to pay for this and get it again. But I want sometimes a little bit more of a statement. Something that just goes into one category, like a nice boozy scent, like a Lost Cherry or a Tobacco Vanille, you know, by Tom Ford. But for that sort of price range, because essentially I've reviewed the clone today, not the Bomb No.9 fragrance, the original. This is great. It's that really lovely oak moss fougere, but there's a lot going on in this fragrance. As I said, it's quite a generic smell, but it's a complex note breakdown. And the fact this clone house has managed to pull this off, regardless of how similar it is, again, I can't 100% say how similar it is. Can't tell you if it's 70-80% the same as the original. But this is a lovely spicy green scent. And as I said, I think it's a little bit more masculine, but anyone could pull this one if it's casual. I really enjoyed it at the gym today, and as I said, I'm really, really enjoying it. I can't believe how much it's changed my opinion, but that's what's great with this. Doing an initial impression sort of fitness fragrance review, rather than saying I had a preconceived idea of, certainly grew on me. And, you know, some of the others that I'll be reviewing course this week may go the other way, may not change at all, but this one for me, Essence Ful 673, gets a big thumbs up, and I definitely recommend it if you're just looking for a versatile, everyday casual scent that can work, particularly in transition seasons, but in all occasions as well. Love it. I love that spicy green smell, and yeah, I look forward to wearing it for the rest of today as well, even on this cold, wet and windy 1st of December when I film this video. But thank you very much for watching. Hoping to film another one today, so another one of my quizzes. So yeah, hopefully you'll join me for them. Of course, over the course of this next few days, got a few days off, going to review a few more of those fragrances as well, regardless of the weather, because it's not looking good. We will do more clone videos. So the next fitness fragrance reviews you see will probably be a continuation of that. But yeah, thank you very much for the kind comments. Let me know if you've had this one. Let me know if you've had the original, and yeah, how that one smells. What's the main sort of notes you get from that? But appreciate everyone watching, and yeah, hopefully I'll catch you later.